the lush green hills of Umudike, the kingdom flourished like a paradise carved by the gods. Birds sang over the flowing river Aja, and children danced to the drums of joy. King Chima, beloved by all, ruled from a palace adorned with the ivory and bronze. But his heart carried a silent worry. He had no son to succeed him. Only Adaora, his daughter, brave and wise beyond her years, bore the mysterious mark of the rising sun on her back. The priests called it a divine sign. But the chiefs doubted. They had never seen a queen on the throne. Within the palace walls, envy grew like a serpent. Prince Dike, the king's younger brother, smiled in public, but plotted in secret. He believed the throne was his by right. To him, Adaora was a threat, a girl with a warrior's spirit and the people's love. The elders warned Dike to respect the god's will, but his heart was filled with pride. A woman cannot wear the crown of Umudike, he spat, and in the silence of night, he began to move his pieces like a player in a deadly game. Adaora walked barefoot through the village, greeting old women and playing with the children. She knew their stories, their fears, their dreams. Her father trained her in secret, lessons of the mind, the heart, and even the warrior's staff. Okoro, a palace guard, taught her how to strike, defend, and think like a soldier. Though she was a princess, she carried water, pounded yam, and sang with the market women. She was one of them, and they loved her. But in the corners of the palace, Dike watched and planned. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, a royal feast was held. Laughter echoed through the palace, as King Chima drank from a golden cup. But within that cup was poison, Dike's final gift. Before dawn, the king coughed blood and collapsed. The kingdom mourned as drums of sorrow filled the air. Dike wept in public, but behind closed doors he smiled. The throne was now empty and the crown waited, but it would not sit easily on his head. Dike gathered the elders and declared himself king. "I am the brother of the late king, the only rightful heir," he roared. Many feared him, others took his gold. The sacred oracle was silent, and Adaora's voice was drowned by the power of men. When she questioned the council, Dike branded her cursed. "She carries the mark of witches," he shouted. And with those words, he ordered her banished to the evil forest, where the dead whisper and none return. Guards dragged Adaora through the palace courtyard. The villagers cried, but no one dared stop Dike. As she was pushed toward exile, Okoro appeared. With one swift blow, he struck down a guard and freed her. They vanished into the forest, leaving only footprints and broken chains. Deep in the wilderness, Adaora wept, not for herself, but for her people. She swore by the gods of her ancestors, "I will return, and I will restore Umudike." The evil forest was silent. Trees hung like giants, and fog swallowed the path. But Adaora walked on. There, among the roots and ruins, she found others, the forgotten ones, wounded warriors, banished elders, orphaned children. They called themselves the Flame Keepers, protectors of an old truth long buried. They welcomed her like the rising sun, and she became one of them. Around a sacred fire, the elders of the flame spoke. "You are the marked one," said the leader. an old woman with moon-white eyes. The sun on your back is not a curse. It is a blessing from Ani, the Earth Mother. You are destined to lead, but you must first learn the way of fire and water, of silence and strength. Adaora bowed. Her training had begun. Day by day, Adaora trained. She ran with wolves, climbed mountains, and fought with the strength of her ancestors. She learned to listen to the wind, to the birds, to her spirit. Okoro stood by her side, sharpening her skill and heart. In the night, she dreamed of her father, who smiled and said, "Rise, my daughter. The crown waits for your voice." Back in Umudike, sorrow ruled. Dike's crown was heavy with blood. He taxed the farmers, seized the sacred lands, and imprisoned the innocent. The gods turned their faces. The river dried. The drums stopped. People whispered Adaora's name like a forbidden song. "She will return," they said. And in secret corners, hope flickered like a flame. One morning, as the golden mist rose over the hills, a messenger bird landed before Adaora. Its feet carried a torn piece of palace cloth. Okoro stepped forward. "It is time." Adaora looked to the sky. "I am ready." The outcasts, now warriors, gathered with their spears and songs. The march to reclaim the soul of Umudike had begun. Word spread like wildfire. The sun-marked princess was coming. Villagers hid weapons beneath yam barns. Hunters returned from the forest to join her. Even some palace gods sent secret pledges. Dike trembled. "She dares challenge me!" he roared. But the spirits whispered louder than fear. As the sky burned orange, Adaora entered Umudike through the broken eastern gate. Drums beat like thunder. Her people stood in awe, clad in leather armor, her staff in hand, and her eyes like flame. "I have not come to destroy," she declared. "I have come to restore." The people fell to their knees. The daughter had returned. Dike stood atop the palace walls, surrounded by soldiers. "You will not pass," he shouted. But as Adaora approached, more soldiers laid down their arms. Okoro fought like a lion, and Adaora moved like lightning. The battle shook the earth, spears clashed, and the spirits watched. In the royal court, Dike faced Adaora alone. "You should have died in the forest," he spat. Adaora raised her staff. "You should have honored your blood." They fought, not just with weapons, but with truth. At last, Adaora struck his sword from his hand. "I will not kill you," she said, "but your reign ends today." Dike was brought before the elders and the people. He wept, but it was too late. The crowd spoke as one. Let justice be done. He was exiled, just as he once exiled her. As he was led away, he looked back at the throne. "It was never mine," he whispered. That evening, under the sacred Iroko tree, the oracle appeared in a whirl of smoke and feathers. "The one with the mark of the sun is the chosen one," she declared. "Let peace return." Adaora stood still. The crown of Umudike was placed on her head. The skies opened and the rain returned. Now Queen Adaora, she rebuilt the kingdom. She opened the gates to all, honored the forgotten, and restored the sacred lands. Children laughed again. Markets overflowed. The drums sang songs of her glory. She ruled with compassion, strength, and wisdom, just like her father. In the early mornings, Adaora would walk among her people. The mark of the sun on her back shimmered like gold. To the old she brought comfort. To the young she brought dreams. To the kingdom she brought light. And the spirits smiled once more. Years passed and the story of Adaora became legend. But in the hills of Umudike, when the drums beat and the wind carries her name, the people still remember. She was the crown of the forgotten, they say, and the sun that rose when all hope was lost.